Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and it is just me for this video because Neon is busy elsewhere. So I saw this article on Comic Book Resources, and it's by John, and I don't know how to say your name, Konopelski. And I love the thought behind it, and I like the idea, but I want to point out that a lot of these classic 80s cartoons that deserve a reboot either have had reboots and they have failed miserably, or are ones that I do not want Hollywood to go anywhere near at this point in time because they've ruined everything else. So before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo. And I'm supposed to also, by Neon's instructions, make sure I mention to thank you all who have joined Clownfish Minus. It is our non-plus club. You can go out to clownfishminus.com, I think, and you can join the reef. There's different levels. We have different things over there. We're going to do more podcasts. I think we're going to do some paranormal podcasts over there again that, you know, you can get exclusively there, or that might go onto the channel, but it won't be for weeks till weeks later. There's that. You can also go out to locals. We're out there as well. If you want to go out there and support the channel, we appreciate it. So I did my due diligence, and now we're going to talk about this article. So I saw this in CBR today, and I had to laugh because I was seeing the pictures, and I was like, well, one, they already have for a lot of these that he mentions. We're going to look at this and see. But two, whenever they do, they ruin them. So it's like, let's not give them ideas because they're not going to do it in the way you want them to do it. And this person, I think, has a really, they have best interests at heart, but it's not going to work the way they think it's going to work. So here are the 80s franchises that they think should be, you know, rebooted, even though some of them have been. They're talking about, you know, 80s and, you know, things about the 80s, like the neon colored clothes, the MTV music videos, Sony Walkmans, etc., etc. They're talking about Saturday morning cartoons. A lot of these cartoons weren't Saturday morning. They were like, you know, different times after school. But he has 10 that he wants to see rebooted or brought back. And the first one is Garfield and Friends. We've already had a bunch of Garfield cartoons. We just had a Garfield movie, you know, not that long ago. We've had several Garfield movies, live action and animated. I don't think there's going to be much interest in that. I think you know, there is some, but I don't think it's the level that you need to have a show. And they're talking about, you know, Garfield, how, you know, they're excited about it because they used to talk about the U.S. Acres show. And they were on the farm and different lives of the animals, and like Orson Pig and Roy Rooster. And yeah, we haven't done these again. You had the regular show and you had that. And then we haven't had that again, but I wouldn't trust them to touch it. I just wouldn't. I mean, this one before other ones, but the person wants it to come back, but he wants it done in a hand-drawn animation reboot. Well, good luck with that. As soon as a hand-drawn animation, it means money. So it would bring a continuation of Garfield and Friends and include U.S. Acres characters. Why that would be kind of cool, I doubt it's going to happen. Again, they already are doing Garfield as films, and there's interest, but it's just not as popular, and I just don't think that's going to happen. That's number 10. Number 9, Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Yes, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show was only on for like a couple years, but it was fun. It was good, you know, you can think of the song, Do the Mario, you know, and all that. But it was a product of its time, and the actors that were in it were what made it awesome. I just don't trust them with this one. And we also had, you know, the new Super Mario movie. Now, the only thing working to their advantage is we're going to have, you know, Epic Universe has that Nintendo area. So, you know, maybe they would bring it back as a show. Because there's still a lot of interest in Mario and kids really love Mario and the movie did so well. But I honestly think Universal is just going to put their money behind the movies. I don't think they're going to bring it back. I don't think it's going to translate well to now. Because you have to remember when the show was out, like, yeah, the NES was like a much younger thing, much newer thing. And people were very excited about it. And I think there was more of an audience for it then than there are now. Plus, again, terrified of what Hollywood would do to it. I would be fun to see the hand-drawn animation style updated to match the current video games. And each episode could contain a lesson for kids watching. Again, I'm afraid what the lesson's going to be, given current year Hollywood. But I think like the movie's a good idea. I just don't think the show especially that show, given how it had live action. I just don't think it's going to translate well, and I'd be afraid to see what they do. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Again, another one that they completely already had a reboot of. See, there was a show in 2015. They've done movies. They had several seasons. They've already done this, 5 seasons of it. No, people aren't interested. I don't think that's one we're going to have to bring back. You can go watch the old shows of any of these. You can go watch the original cartoons on different streaming apps. I'm sure they have them on, different DVD collections. You can go find them there. I would recommend watching the originals. I would not try to do these again because I would be afraid of what would happen. They're talking about since the 2020s are all about music again, it'd be great to bring Alvin and his brothers back in their original format as hand-drawn cartoons. This person keeps bringing the hand-drawn cartoons out and their long turtleneck shirts over and over again, ignoring the fact that it's already been done. All right? It's been done. It didn't do well. Hand drawing it isn't going to change that. I think if you want to watch that, go watch the old show, because I think a lot of the stuff still, there's some things in it that didn't age well, but a lot of it's still pretty, it's still relevant and can age well. The Snorks, thank God they haven't rebooted this one yet. It was a thing. I can't believe it was on that long. It was on that long, 84 to 89. If you brought this one back, you could, but I'd be again afraid. Look, there's nothing wrong with this. People aren't going to do anything wrong with that in Hollywood. I just don't think it's a good idea. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let it survive as is. Don't mess with it. They'd have to update their clothes and personalities for kids in the 2020s. They could each have their own cell phone and update their vocabulary to match what the kids are now saying. No, let's not. Legend of Zelda, 89. Legend of Zelda was a fun one. It's another one that was a product of its time. A lot of people would love a Zelda something. They're probably going to end up doing a movie before it's all said and done. Where Legend of Zelda cartoon, I think would be fun. I just don't know if it has the audience with kids. I would say the Mario Brothers Super Show would have more of an audience with kids before Legend of Zelda would. But I personally would love to see a Legend of Zelda movie. Again, it's another case of where I'm afraid what Hollywood would do to it anymore. If I hear they're doing something like this, I'm immediately skeptical because they've ruined so much already. And honestly, I'd rather, it's like, I want you to remember me as I was kind of situation. I'd rather remember them as they were. They're talking about, the Legend of Zelda and the Link and Zelda and the Hyrule Kingdom and their show. And they said that with how huge the Zelda franchise has become for Nintendo, now would be the perfect time to bring back the series. The base storyline could stay the same, but would need a major upgrade regarding the animation style. Well, yeah. And especially the voice acting. The showrunners can make it a spin-off series from one of the games that already exist or have exist on its own individual universe. The fans would go wild if they got a reboot of the silly 80s cartoon. Again, same with Super Mario Brothers Super Show. 80s cartoon. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to work because it was a product of its time. People might be excited about a cartoon, but I can guarantee you it is not going to be like the 80s one. They will make sure of it in Hollywood. They don't seem to understand. You're coming from an old fan wanting to see this stuff return. And I get that. I understand that. I am that too, and I've been there. What I've learned is that they will not respect the old fans. They will just appropriate it, change everything about it, and then tell you you're a bigot if you don't like it. So you're best to let sleeping dogs lie and, put that Triforce right back. ThunderCats. Because, no one's done that before. Like ThunderCats in 2011, which was really good and was beautifully animated. And then ThunderCats Roar, which don't even get me started about how bad that was. They've already tried ThunderCats twice. Please just leave it alone at this point. Let it rest. It's resting. Let it rest. They're talking about the show and they said, what's their idea here? If another reboot was greenlit, so they acknowledged the reboots. it should return to its original 1980s animation style and further the storyline from that era. Because they said the 2011 series was too close to the original, but a bit darker and may aim towards adults, but it was good. And the reboot was childish and seemed to poke fun at the original series instead of capturing its magic. So dude's aware. He said the new show could even be a continuation that depicts the later battles between the Thunderian forces led by Lino, Momra, and the mutants as they tried to escape Third Earth to make it back to Thundara. With all the heavy action involved, kids and adults will discover how fascinating the show could be. Again, I would love to see, we had the 2011, which I thought was good. I would love to see more ThunderCats. I'm with you on most of these, but I also understand that what would happen if they brought him back is not what you'd want to see happen. Jem and the Holograms. Big Jem fan. Have a huge collection of Jem. Love Jem. Always. I know the songs. I can sing the songs without even looking at the lyrics. I know them. Love Jem. They tried to bring Jem back. It was disastrous. The movie. I would never watch this movie. I refuse to see that because once it has been seen, it cannot be unseen. And I don't want to tarnish my memory of Jem with that dog crap. But that was like the first of many attempts by Hollywood to bring back something from the 80s that they destroyed epically. I joked about this with Neon several times that Jem would be a good one they could bring back because with the technology we have now, it's more realistic. Like synergy could happen now and things like that. And I would love to see it done. But like She-Ra, I really, really, really worry about what will happen in the show. Especially since we had the comic book and they are shipping, a Stormer with, was it Kimber and stuff like that. And which it's another one of those instances where we had one episode where the girls went out and had fun together. And that means they're a couple now, like Poison Ivy and, Harley Quinn. And somehow translates to their couple because we said so. And I really think Hollywood would co-opt the heck out of it. And I do not want them to touch it. Do not touch Jem. Do not touch Jem unless you promise to do it justice. And I know you will not, so do not touch it. They're saying here, this show was to be rebooted. It should stay as an animated series and continue to showcase the latest fashions and characters. Yeah, okay. The music videos and original songs should also continue as a central theme, as that was what made the show what it was. However, to add more unique flavor, there should be more of a focus on Jericho's ability to transform to Jem by allowing the holograms the same ability. It would be a fun little twist. Yes and no. I just don't touch it. Silverhawks, another one that we luckily haven't had bastardized yet. Don't touch it. Do not. Just stay away. Keep your grubby fingers to yourself. I know they're making new toys of this, but they're trying to keep it in line with the original. But there isn't a show. If they would keep it in line with the original, that'd be great. But they probably won't. Here's their idea. With all the focus on space-themed sci-fi shows right now, Silverhawks would be a great fit and make a big boom in the cartoon world. I do not think it would work well current year. The animation style would need an update refresh, but the storyline characters should be kept the same to ensure new and old fans have something fun to watch. Well, see, I agree with you on this. The storyline characters should be kept the same. Unfortunately, that's not what we get. We don't get this, and that's the problem. If they would just understand this, we wouldn't be having much to talk about because everything would be great. But they don't understand this. Beetlejuice, the cartoon show. My daughter has that when she loves it. She loves anything Beetlejuice. Again, I don't know. This one you might be able to do now, to be fair, because of the movie and stuff. I just, again, worried what they would do with it. But it was kind of removed a little bit from the movie anyway. And with the musical and stuff being different, you probably could get away with this one more, I'm thinking. As long as you kept it in line with the original, I think this one you might be able to get away with today. I think there might be an audience for this one today. Now that the movie has an increasingly successful sequel that came out, it's a perfect time for the animated series to make a comeback as well. This time, the creators should have it relate a bit more to the movie, focusing more on Astrid Deed's life with Beetlejuice and the adventures they're up to in both the real world and the netherworld. This show also has the potential to be a massive success if it follows the source material from both the movies and the animated series. This one I do think they could probably pull off. I'm just afraid of what they do to it for the animation style and some other things, but that one maybe. That one's a maybe. The number one, which made me laugh, Transformers. Transformers have had so many iterations of Transformers and so many cartoon shows. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Let me see. I had it pulled up here, Wikipedia. Here is just all the iterations of Transformers from the 80s, the originals, to Generation 2, to Beast Wars. It didn't, and then it jumped into, it wasn't even that long. From Beast Machines to Robots in Disguise, Armada, Energon, Cybertron, Animated, Cyber Missions, Prime, Rescue Bots, Go, on and on and on. This is only 2015. It just keeps going. Transformers Earthspark. There's just so many, I don't know what this means. 1,274 plus 5. That's how many episodes of everything, I'm guessing. They have never stopped making Transformers. I don't think that one needs a reboot. It's already out there. It's been rebooted many, many times. That one I'm not going to give you at all because that one is just that's already out. They're constantly making new Transformers. It's like every other year there's a new Transformers show. Their idea is that they should make it even better. This new reboot should occur when the original show ended with all the various Transformers, including those introduced in the 86 animated movie. Yeah, okay, well, my husband would love that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Neon would think that was the greatest thing ever. That's why he liked Bumblebee of the movies. He got into fights with people when they wanted to do the Transformers movies with Michael Bay and about what they wanted to do. Where he would agree with you on this, I think some of the shows kind of do something similar. It's just already so much Transformers. It's already been done so many times. It's just, this one, it should be number 10 or off the list completely because it's already been overdone. Again, I would rather Hollywood not touch some of these shows that haven't been redone or have been, but haven't been done for a while because like She-Ra, they completely effed that one up so bad. It was a completely new show, and it was all about identity politics, and it was all about what woman is sleeping with what other woman, and it was just, slumber parties and, best friend squad and everything that She-Ra wasn't, and it was a show with She-Ra paint on it, and it was exactly what that current Hollywood would do, or at least then. Even Masters of the Universe Revelation, there was a lot of problems with that. Revolution was better. Revelation, it was a mess too in so many different ways. I just stop. Stop bringing things back if you're just going to not appreciate, respect it, and change it. I'd rather just watch the originals and call it a day. You want to bring this stuff back for new audience. I honestly think I'd rather see new things. Because one of the great things about the shows that you're mentioning and the things about the 80s and this stuff was these were all new things. Now, they were all based on toy lines, but they were new things, except for Garfield was books. We don't get, we need more new things. We need to go back to innovation. We need to go back to making cool toys and tying shows to it. We need to go back to those things because that's what was great about them. And now everything is so copy-paste, the Cal art style, or just reboot this one or that one because it had an audience, and they're not trying new things. And I think that's a problem. I think we need to come up with shows that appeal to children that are new. That's why things like, Bluey and Coco Melon and those things are doing well because they're something different. They're not something rebooted. And you're going to have your perennial classics. They brought My Little Pony back how many times, and Transformers has been back how many times, and G.I. Joe is still here, thankfully. I just think that you have a couple that stay the test of time, and they can be, reinvented slightly and keep the audience. I think a lot of these things need to stay in the past, and we need to find new things that are exciting and creative and go back to making stuff instead of just repurposing things. But that's my opinion. I completely understand where this person's coming from. And I respect and appreciate the thought and the ideas they put this into an article on CBR of all places. So I do appreciate that. I just think that a lot of it isn't going to work. And I think that even if Hollywood got a hold of it, they just ruin it. So anyway, what do you think? What would you add to the list? What do you think about the list? Do you think something should come back? Comment and let us know. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.